Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday, or Talking Hats Day, as everybody's starting to know it now. Um, we are here joining you on this Saturday morning. I put out a tweet. If anybody wants to jump in, please hit us up in the DMs, and I'll link you right in with us. We can get this sports debate going. But we're going to have our own back and forth thing going today. We got a lot to talk about. We got March Madness on deck. We've got a lot of NFL free agency moves, some trades going on, and we'll get into some NBA action as well as a little NHL towards the end of the show. Even got a MLB blurb to throw out there at some point. But I want to start off the show by giving a quick shout out to and a rest in peace to my guy John Clayton. Like we were talking about this before the show, and like Harish said, you grew up watching him on ESPN, and he just seemed like a great guy. And the outpouring of love that he's getting here at the end is indicative of the great man he seemed to be. And yeah, so rest in peace, John Clayton. You will be missed sorely.
Yeah, because it was funny, like when you broke the news to me, because usually that news gets spread like wildfire, and it was maybe the way I have my notification set up for ESPN or something, but it was kind of under the radar. Even like
Seemed like it, yeah.
like the Twitterverse didn't go off, Instagram didn't go off, even ESPN, and then it kind of brought a tear to my eye because I only found out about it when we were doing our show prep late last night, and when you sent out the email, and I'm like, wait, what?
And you were awake to get that?
I quickly.
Why were you awake to get that?
I woke
sent
up
that
this
at like
morning.
3 a.m.
Yeah, you said it at 3 a.m., but
Because
I woke up at 6 o'clock just to like.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Because
I
I had
shouldn't
a
be waking up at.
rough sleep night last night, and I was up at 1 a.m. my time and 3 a.m. out there. So.
Yeah, it was a rough week for all. And then when I saw it, I'm like, this can't be. Like, what that? Why didn't I get anything? And it kind of reminded me of this one skit I was telling the missus about. Is when John Clayton was in a room and
Exactly.
he was saying something on like through like Zoom or at that point, and then it cuts off and he rips off of it. He has like a half sleeve torn shirt, and he's like yelling at
It's
his
like a
wife, like,
metal shirt,
"Ma!"
like Slayer or something like that.
Yes, and I was like, he's like, "Ma, where's my like soup or where's my noodles or a couple noodles?" He starts eating it again, and I'm like, man,
And
like he
he
was
takes
such.
out his ponytail like a long hair. Like that commercial is
Yeah.
what, like, people liked him before, of course, because he's John Clayton. Not can you not like him? But I think that commercial is what endeared him in the hearts of many fans, and definitely an unforgettable commercial, and really an unforgettable guy. He just seemed like a nice, cool dude. So yeah, sorry to see him
Yeah, I
go.
mean, at the end of the day, it was.
And young too. He was a young man too.
Yeah,
So
it was. Yeah, I know it
he was
was
only
kind of shocking
67.
too, and you're just. He was 67. So for some reason, I read it was like 60, and I'm like, wow.
Well, either
But
way,
if he was 60,
67. That to me, that's young because I'm getting up there. So when you see somebody go at 67, it's like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you read this or if you know. I mean, I didn't know this. I mean, they're saying like he had an ailment or some illness he was
yeah,
battling. So,
his family put out a statement saying he passed after a short illness.
God, yeah,
I just hope he wasn't suffering or anything, and he's definitely, no doubt about it, he's in a better place now. I'm
yeah.
looking down on us with that smiling face. So safe home, John Clayton.
Yep, and that's why it's funny because now we're in that kind of commercially realm for the last 2 years. We just throw on like a nice shirt and thing, and then everything else is just like blurred out. And when the meeting ends, we just go back to what we were wearing. So, yeah, John Clayton, you guys, you gave an incredible amount of reporting over the years, and you'll be sorely missed. And bless up to your family and all your loved ones that are here because you will be sorely missed in the world of sports.
No doubt about it. Another thing we were talking about before the show, let me explain this real quick. Well, I'm not wearing my hat. So I posted a tweet on St. Patrick's Day. We were out in an Irish pub. We had some green beers, and I put the hat next to those, and we just went out and got that going. And we brought my mother-in-law's car with the four-wheel drive because it was snowing here. I ended up leaving my hat in her car, so wearing my Nationals hat today, like I did in the start of the show. But I missed my hat. Well, I'll have it back on next week. But yeah, another thing we were talking about before the show, we had a long pre-show discussion today. Daylight savings time. It's screwing with my sleep. Harish, you said it's screwing up your sleep schedule too. So that kind of messed up the show schedule here this morning. We're getting a little bit of a late start, but you'll get adjusted. I saw that the Senate is gotcha. I saw apparently we're having some bandwidth issues here, like we did on Tuesday. But as long as it stays smooth on my end, the video is going to be smooth, and it is. So the video should be fine. But with the sleep schedule stuff and the Senate passing that Save Sunlight bill or whatever it is, I was telling Harish before the show, we did this in the 70s, passed this same law, everybody overwhelmingly for it. And then after 2 years, everybody hated it because daylight savings time gives you something to look forward to if you like longer days. Or if you like shorter days, it gives you that to look forward to. It's 8 months of the year now, daylight savings time. And we're going to end up hating this again once it passes because it's going to pass. And I don't know what your thoughts are, and I don't know how you feel about if you like the longer or shorter days, but we're going to go through this cycle all over again.
I just like an hour of sleep more, man. As we've gotten more into our,
you value sleep as you get older.
Yeah, when people say sleep is overrated, I'm like, no, it's not. Sleep is not. Sleep is it's a luxury to have because
pretty much God, food, sleep.
Yes.
Well, God, family, food, sleep.
There you go.
Sorry. Love my family.
Well, if you say God, like it kind of like lumps everything together with family.
That's true. Thank you.
So
good save.
So it's almost like so as we have gotten wiser over the years, our bodies cannot do the same things like it once was when we were younger. We can't go to bed.
Hey, speak for yourself there, buddy. Not kidding. No, I'm right. I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
It is one of those difficult things, and I mean, not to sound political because we're not really a political show. There's a lot of other issues that they could battle. Then that's. I mean, I think this bill is useless because it's not helping anybody. It's not helping our communities. It's not helping the truly need people. So when I heard about this, I'm like, okay, so what about the schools in impoverished areas? Like, why don't you give money and try to build schools?
If we're going to get into that, I can really go down a rabbit hole with that, but I'm not going to. So, but and I'm sure I'm breaking up. But like I said, my video is still good, just so you know. If I'm breaking up, my video is still good, so we'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny because am I breaking up?
No.
I mean, just to like. Yeah, so it's just a bandwidth. I think Verizon is trying to shorten the work from home again. Probably. But here nor there, I don't find it amusing. I mean, to me, it was just like, is this the first time you guys can agree upon something stupid? Like this is something stupid. Like it's not going to benefit us or help us in any way, shape, or form. You know what can really help us is try to find out a way to reduce our gas prices on the tank. Try to find that out instead of paying like $5 a gallon. Or $6 a gallon.
Like I said, I can really go down a rabbit hole on this stuff, but I ain't gonna. So I'm gonna go ahead and get us into the sports stuff. We do have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Starting off, I'm gonna lead us off here with Deshaun Watson and that news, and then I'm gonna start us off on the topic. I'm kicking it over to you because you deserve to lead us off on that because you were spot on. You were the only one, even after he eliminated the Browns, you still said he was going to the Browns. I know you were the only person in the world to say that, and that means you're the only person in the world who was right about that. At the end of the day, you were right, and you start us off.
So I want to make something kind of thing too is that the reason why I said that is because that's the perfect fit for him. Like whoever got into his ear, because he can't get into any trouble in Cleveland. Even if you try to, you can't. Number one. Okay, because he needs to distance himself from the people that were there. If he went to any other city, trouble is going to follow that kind of thing because you want to distance yourself from your past. You want to say, I'm not that kind of guy. And what better place to do it in Cleveland? Cleveland is a blue collar town. If you can get the people on your side in Cleveland, you are the golden boy. You can do no wrong. And I think that's the safest bet for him. And also Cleveland, their offense kind of fits what he's trying to do. And also he can, I mean, yes, we may have a debate on the way he throws the ball or the way he gets it out or anything, but this actually puts him in contention he may make them a playoff team only because the defense there can bail him out when need be. When need be, the defense can bail them out. I know people were talking about, the Saints. Yes, but I was about to write back to that. I forgot the individual's name who was saying about like where he told me that like the news just broke this morning. And I checked my Twitter. And I was like, it broke like 15 minutes ago. Yeah. So I was getting confused. I'm like, wait, why did he say no? But he got paid, so money had a factor in it too. I didn't know.
No question. That is why
Yeah,
he changed his mind.
I
You
mean,
can
what was
eliminate a
it?
team
Two
until you
hundred
see
and
that. Fully
was it?
guaranteed 5 years, $230 million. And his previous extension hadn't even kicked in yet. So this is on
Oh,
top of that. So he's got two extensions
hmm.
coming up here. Um, like you said, money was the deciding factor there. From a football standpoint, it's definitely the best situation for him because that offense was tailor made for Baker Mayfield, tailor made to hide his weaknesses, which is passing the ball. I think
Hmm.
that same thing is going to end up helping Deshaun Watson. I don't. I've made it clear on this show before that I don't really love him as a quarterback because he has a lot of Carson Wentz in him, where he'll run around and try to make a play instead of running the play. He showed that a lot in Houston. It worked out for him because he had guys like Hopkins down there, and he was able to make some big
Hmm.
plays running around and just throwing it up to him. This offense is good for him. He'll be running the ball a lot. Um, Go ahead.
No, what I was about to say is the reason why I chose Cleveland is only
Uh,
because like the other teams, you won't have that opportunity to shine. Like I mean, because I don't believe that they would have fit the offense around him. Like if you would have went to New Orleans, they have a set standard that he would have to have fit into. If you would have went to Carolina, they have a set standard to go into. Cleveland's almost like a blank slate now because they knew what Mayfield did and they needed. And I like Baker. I mean, I'm probably in the minority that likes Baker Mayfield is because I think he wants to win, but I think his Bakerism, I would say, gets in front of his own success. And I also feel that Deshaun Watson can they needed to inject new blood. So in my opinion, I said Cleveland only because in my gut I just had a strong feeling like if Cleveland doesn't make a move right now, they're never going to go anywhere. They're just not. But they gave up a lot though too in draft picks. So did they shoot themselves in the foot? Time will only tell, man. Time will only tell because they gave up a lot of cash and picks to get him. So, but only the flip side is you gave it to Houston, which has done nothing in the draft. So,
Yeah, and I think Houston's fortunes are about to change here with Lovey
mhm,
Smith at the helm. We
right.
discussed on a previous show the success he was able to have in Chicago in a pretty bad situation from a quarterback
Hmm.
standpoint with Rex Grossman. He even had success with Jay Cutler there. So I think down there in Houston, if anybody can turn things around, it'll be him. It would have been cool to see Baker be involved in the deal and see what Lovey could do with Baker. I believe if Lovey could make Rex Grossman look decent, he could have fixed Baker, but they didn't want him. So say la vie there. But with Deshaun flirting hard with the Saints and Falcons, either one of those situations would have been, I think, harder for him to acclimate to because those offenses, I think they would have relied on him more.
Right.
I think the Saints, they really only well, they have Kamara. They could have leaned on the run a little bit there. I just don't think they would have. I think they would have expected him to come in and be Breeze, and
Right.
he's not.
It's
He can't. He can't be. To me, he can't be that
mm,
kind of quarterback.
no.
And the
And the thing is,
Falcons,
Cleveland has a
but
running game. Cleveland has a running game,
no,
so that
that's my
will.
point with that offense. It's a run heavy scheme, and it was built that way to hide Baker. That's going to help Deshaun, who has more talent than Baker. But from a quarterback standpoint, just the way he plays the game, I don't know
Mhm,
that he's any better than Baker from a decision making standpoint.
mhm,
I haven't seen that. I've seen a guy who runs around and tries to make a play instead of running the play. Maybe
right.
he's matured in these 2 years since he last played. We shall see. It's hard for me to believe it. I think Baker, this stuff is going to be a shock to him. I think he'll go have success wherever he ends up, and I think they'll be better than whatever Cleveland's going to be this year. That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, I also think that Baker is going to go to like they're not he's not going to go to he's not going to go to New Orleans because of Winston.
Yeah,
But
they're signing Jameis.
yeah, so I think if he goes to Carolina, I think he can have success in Carolina. If Carolina's looking and if Cleveland cuts Baker, I think Carolina is a good option for him. I mean, at this point, if Miami didn't really sign Tua, I would have been like Miami would have been a perfect place for Baker. But I mean, I wish him all the best. I mean, that's all you can say.
See, Carolina, I don't think they're going to take a chance on him because Matt Rule knows he's in his last year there, unless
Mm,
they like go far. And he's not going to hitch his wagon to Baker Mayfield to get that done. I could the perfect spot for him would be Indy, but they're not going to make that move. They're not going to trade him
no,
to Indy. Seattle is an option that's out there. What else? I guess
I
that's
mean,
really the only option, only chance for him really to start this year will be Seattle. I don't know that anybody else really has a pressing need anymore. I think all the moves have been made, especially with Jameis going back.
right.
Jimmy G is still out there, so that complicates the market a little bit too for Baker.
See, which is surprising though too. I thought he would have been off sooner than later. You know what I'm
The Niners,
saying?
I'm sure, are asking for too much. That's the only
Could
issue
be,
there. And
could
they'll
be.
probably end up just keeping him, which is, that's not the worst thing in the world.
That's true too. He did lead them to in the NFC. They went to the NFC Championship, right?
Yeah, and he won't be the starter if they do keep him. Trey Lance is still gonna. It's his team now. That's clear.
Right.
So that's gonna happen. Um, so yeah, with Deshaun, Baker even when Deshaun eliminated them, Baker
Right.
requested a trade, and his feelings were hurt. Clearly and understandably, he requested a trade. They said no, we're not going to trade you. But now here we go. He's on the block. So we'll see
Wow.
how that all plays out, and we'll see what the fallout is going to be here. Now that Deshaun has made his decision, a lot more pieces should start to fall into place. Like we said, Jameis that's done. Will Jimmy G end up in Carolina, Seattle? Who knows? Is Matt Ryan going to request a trade now here that the Falcons made the move to go ahead and push his bonus out to Tuesday to wait to see what Deshaun Watson was going to do? That made it clear that they were in it. So we'll see how he handles that, if he handles it better than Baker did or not. I don't know if he's
Huh.
going to be the starter there
So
next year.
so I just got something on ESPN that
Breaking
says
news again?
how the Commanders picked Carson Wentz. They said how Joe Gibbs' film study and analytics led to Washington to Carson Wentz. John
That's
Keim.
that's absolute garbage. That's a hot, steaming pile of trash, garbage lies. They chose Carson Wentz because they had no other choice. If Carson Wentz had gotten to free agency, if he had gotten released, he is not coming to Washington. They chose him because he was the only quarterback out there who couldn't choose where he was going. So they made the move to get him because he was stuck. He had no choice. So that's a lie. They're trying to sugarcoat it now to make it look good and make him feel good. Ron Rivera saying, "Oh, you were our guy all along." BS. No chance.
No,
You mean to
there's no
tell
way.
me that if they had their chance in the free agent market, they don't choose Russell Wilson, they don't choose Deshaun Watson? Come on. I don't care who studied what
no.
film. If you study film, you're not picking Carson Wentz. So let's be serious
No.
here.
Yeah,
That's a hot, steaming pile.
it's one of those things that just like, all right, are they just trying to put out good press
Yes.
and then just say we had a plan to begin with and
All
we
about the
ha ha we
optics.
fooled you all? Come
All
on
about the
now, man.
optics. Yeah, that's all that
Yeah,
is. Don't buy into that
but
nonsense.
there was a surprise trade. Well, not a surprise trade, I would say,
Surprise
but
to
a
me.
crazy trade. Yeah, I mean, I was taken back by it, and I kind of felt like they like people are just selfish. And if people don't know what we're talking about, is the
I do.
Devonte Adams
Yep. I
trade
was right there with you.
from Green Bay to the Raiders of all teams. Now that team is stacked. The Raiders are stacked. You have to tell them that.
Now, when you say it was selfish, what do you mean? Like, from what standpoint?
So when Aaron Rodgers signed that contract, that long, like I mean, he got a ridiculous amount of money, right? So all the money, all the cap space went to him. They had no others to sign for. They have no who like besides Devontae Adams. Who is your other receiver? You have nobodies. You have no names.
No, they don't even have Valdez Scantling at the moment, but he's a free agent, and I hear that they're going to try to go after him again. We'll see how that goes. But from the standpoint of them not being able to sign him because of Aaron, they had already put the franchise tag on him, so they had the cap room there to sign him. The franchise tag would be bigger yearly than what he got from Vegas. But he made it clear he didn't want to be there. Devontae Adams didn't. He got tired of Aaron Rodgers' BS. He got tired of him being a diva. He got tired of the drama every single year. He got tired of losing.
Yeah,
He went to a better overall team. In my opinion, a better quarterback. Let's talk about scorching hot take there. But that I'm going to be proven out here with this, because now Derek Carr has got weapons. Devontae Adams is an unquestioned elite number one receiver. Darren Waller is top 3 tight end in the league. Hunter Renfrow is a very solid slot receiver. Their running game is set with Jacobs. Their offensive line is good. Their defense, Chandler Jones, Max Crosby. Hey, the Raiders have catapulted themselves into the discussion for the top spot in the AFC West. And I see your face. I know it looks like I'm still breaking up, but I'm still good here. So we're good. No worries. So yeah, what continued thoughts on that?
So for me, the like one of my really good friends was like, how can you call Aaron Rodgers a glorified game manager, right? After all that, and I was like, so I went back. So they won against Pittsburgh in their Super Bowl that they
Yeah, I
won.
watched that too. Yeah.
So when I was analyzing it and when Dale was analyzing it, what I saw was it was a team effort. Defense played well. It wasn't him just leading a team to come back. They were already leading because of the defense, because of special teams, and because of certain play calling. Because back then, I just think he was a better quarterback. He was a gunslinger. He was doing the things to kind of like get that team into position to win the game. And the last couple of years, I would say, I mean, I compared his stats to, let's say, Peyton Manning, right? Because Peyton Manning has two Super Bowls, multiple MVPs, and to see what his touchdown to interception ratio was. Peyton Manning is probably regarded as one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. That's what people say. When I compared his touchdown to interception ratio to Aaron Rodgers' touchdown to interception ratio, Peyton Manning had a more interception ratio than Aaron Rodgers did. So if you're saying how can you call them a glorified game manager is they pad the stats because they're not throwing to win the game, they're just throwing not to lose. And the touchdowns will kind of speaks for it because he has more touchdown passes than Peyton Manning does a little bit. I'm sorry, he has less interceptions than Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning has more touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. So the math it's like imbalanced. It's like if you were that person that can take chances to win, your interceptions will be higher than what it is right now. And you can't just say, "Oh, his QBR is so high." QBR ratings, in my opinion, are kind of like a wash. It's like in the middle of the road. If you're ticking to go down, oh, he has a good QBR, but that doesn't defy what a quarterback is. It just defies that he throws an accurate ball. That's all it does. How many completions he's going to get? And Aaron Rodgers makes completions. That's all he does. He doesn't take any chances anymore,
Yeah,
like he used to.
knowing how Kirk is as far as padding stats in the fourth quarter of games that are already out of hand, I don't look at QB ratings and all that stuff until I look at wins and losses first. I look at that first. I look at your results in the playoffs first. I look at your QBR and your quarterback rating after all that, just to get a gauge of how you're doing. But I want results. I don't care about anybody
Yep.
padding their stats. And I'm glad we were able to convince you on that glorified game manager thing. And I say glorified because putting him in the game manager category, that is along the lines of like a Trent Dilfer or a Brad Johnson type of game manager, guys who are really just in place to not make mistakes, and even Alex Smith, those type of
Mhm.
guys. So I say glorified because Aaron Rodgers, from a talent perspective, is of course better than that.
Right.
But his results and just the fact that his numbers show that he's not willing to take chances. That's why I put that game manager label on him. In
Yep.
certain games, in certain situations, you have to be willing to take a shot. You might throw a pick, but you're taking a chance. You're giving your team a chance to succeed in that situation.
Hmm.
And especially in big games, he hasn't been willing to do that. So that's why I put that label on him. I think it's deserved. I think he lives up to it. But with Devontae Adams leaving, believe it or not, this is going to sound very weird, very strange. With him leaving, I think this is the opportunity that this might make Aaron Rodgers a better quarterback because his guy is gone. He leaned on Devontae Adams
Hmm.
way too much. Now he doesn't have anybody there, a number one to lean on. So it's going to show. This is going to show his mettle. Is he really a good quarterback? Or is he a game manager? Can he spread the ball around and make other receivers look good? The past 2 years, it's
Hmm.
only been Devontae Adams. He got paid for it. But
Right.
so we'll see. We'll see where Aaron Rodgers really stands in it from a quarterback standpoint. His roster is going to be thin due to his gigantic mega deal. We're going to see where he stands. People are still putting Green Bay as the favorite. I don't see it. So we'll see how this all plays out. If I'm predicting it, to me, they don't make the playoffs. That's not a playoff team. Outside of Aaron Rodgers, that's not a playoff team. So I
Nope.
wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it. Vegas, on the
And
other hand,
I
watch
mean
out.
Vegas. I mean, well, like if people don't know, Derek Carr used to throw to Devontae Adams at Fresno State.
Yeah,
So they have a very good connection, and I believe Devontae Adams always wanted to play with Derek Carr in the pros.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So now he has that, and Devontae Adams is still young too, and so is Derek Carr. They're not. I mean, the age difference wise, maybe a couple of years here and there, but now it has to make the Raiders up on par with the Denver Broncos in the AFC West. Has to now,
Yeah.
because now they have that talent to go 1-for-1 with the Denver Broncos. I'm not even putting KC now because even though they got Juju Smith, and that does make him a little bit of a thing, their defense is their liability. Their defense is their liability. And if they don't fix that defense, they're not going to get anywhere. You can score 50 points, but if the other teams can score 50 points, you got to stop that 56 point. You got to score.
Yeah,
You have to stop them.
that is why I can't put them in the top spot. Their defense is just a question mark right now, and they haven't made any moves to bolster that. They're letting Matthew go. That's going to hurt. So we're going to have to see where they stack up as far as the defense. Maybe they'll make some moves in the draft and shore some things up. But to me, they're third or maybe even fourth in division right now.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a great rivalry again between the Raiders and the Broncos. It's going to relive that kind of what they used to have back in the early days of the '80s and the early '90s, and it's going to be fun football because now Derek Carr has weapons, as you said, he has weapons.
And let's see what Josh McDaniels can do with that offense too. And Devontae Adams, like you said, he chose the better situation.
He did. He did.
So, man, I can't wait for this season. It's
dude.
almost like this every year where, you see all these off-season moves and you want to see how it all plays out. But this season has been different. There's just been like really power shifts all over the league. And that takes me out to the AFC East where Buffalo made the move of the offseason in getting Von Miller. They got a proven winner. He put the Broncos team with Peyton Manning's shell on his back and won that Super Bowl. He definitely had an impact in the Rams Super Bowl win. And with getting them over the top, his impact, I mean, it's apparent. Is he the guy who can get Buffalo over the top? If he stays healthy, I think absolutely. So they showed a video of him walking through the hall of the banners, the 4 AFC Championship banners hanging up. And somebody asked him, we need to get over. Somebody said to him, we need to get over the top. And he looked at that and he said, we're going to get over the top. Von Miller, I said this before the Rams won the Super Bowl. When he sets his mind to it, when he's determined like that, I'm going to put a bet on the Bills to win it, my futures bet, just to have some skin in the game on that because he's somebody I really believe in his word. You can see the fire when he says stuff like that. He said it in the playoffs and look what happened. With him talking like that, I'm starting to believe.
And how could you not? I mean, he elevates everybody around him. So it kind of puts a different perspective when you're playing for something, right? You want to play for a player. You want to play for a coach. And now, since Buffalo has signed him, Buffalo's going to be a scary team on defense. They were already scary. They're going to be even scarier. But what really is frustrating is their defensive Leslie Frazier, who's their defensive coordinator, needs to look at that KC game and kind of see what he did wrong, and so he doesn't make that same mistake twice. Because
that was horrible.
It was because they thought they won that game. I mean, I thought it. You thought it. I mean, everybody here thought they won that game, and within a blink of an eye, you had Kansas City coming down for a touchdown or a field goal to tie the game up and go into overtime and win. So, if Leslie Frazier doesn't kind of fix his mistakes, he may be on the hot seat this year, or even after that, if they make the playoffs or not.
This move, getting Von Miller, that's going to mask any stink in the scheme before. Von Miller, he's a difference maker, impact player. That's not even good enough to describe him. He's going to make a huge difference. And Buffalo, before that move, they were on the verge of getting lost in the mix in the AFC, even in their division. New England, I think, if they don't bring in Von Miller, I think that's New England's division. Now, to me, there's no question. If Von Miller's healthy, that Buffalo is going to run away with it. And then in the playoffs, I mean, that's when he turns it up. So they're going to make noise. No question about it.
Yeah, and they'll have home field throughout the entire playoffs because they'll be like a 12 and 13 win team anyway. So at the end of so I just feel that like they may even go to the Super Bowl next year, bro. Like it may even be them.
I see it.
And I mean, because maybe in the AFC Championship, it may even be Buffalo versus Denver. Who knows? That'll be a great matchup.
Cool. Yeah, and Von Miller can play here in Denver in the playoffs and see if he can go to the Super Bowl from it. But yeah, that'd be sweet to see. And he's a guy I'll always root for. Just his first of all being here in Denver, and then his passion for the game. So we shall see with that. We'll see if Josh Allen is the guy and can do it again.
And he has 2 Super Bowl rings, right?
Yeah.
Von Miller? He'll be going for his 3rd.
Yeah.
I mean, that's solidified. I mean, he's already solidified a Hall of Fame career. This will put him over the top. This will put him over the top.
His numbers are crazy, no question.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, he is, I mean, that signing alone tells everybody in the AFC to watch out for the Buffalo Bills. To watch out. Because I'm going to say he's going to have like a 10 sack year. 10 to 12 sack year.
I'll take the over.
Yeah, he's going to go up against
health dependent. All of the predictions
health
from
dependent.
All these teams, it's all based on health. If they stay healthy, then yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't. I mean, I think he's overcome his injuries. Knock on wood. I mean, he's. I mean, it proved last year, even though he was nicked up and banged up, but hopefully he is of sound mind and sound body, as they say. So, and man, I think football next year is going to be crazy. Like this coming season is just, it's going to be one of those, like, man, did you see that play? Did you see what he did?
Yeah. And then Buffalo tried to make another move and bring in McKissick, and then he changed his mind and went back to Washington. That we didn't touch on that. That happened, I think, after our last show. So yeah, McKissick is going to be back in Washington, so that changes our predictions as far as Gibson and then how they're going to use Samuel. McKissick will be that guy, again, health dependent. He should be that pass catcher out of the backfield. The Commanders also brought in a monster of a guard, and Andrew Norwell. This dude is just massive, a gigantic human being. And I know they lose Flowers there, but this should dampen that loss, because the dude he's a massive human being. He's tackle sized at the guard position. So that's huge. Yeah. That's a good get.
And who's going to take Brandon Sheriff's spot? That's the question, right? You lose Flowers, but you
said they have depth there, so I'm taking you at your word on that. So I'm going to trust you that they'll be fine.
See, I like Cosme. They'll be fine with Cosme because, I mean, I like Sam Cosme. He improved, but he got injured, right? So he played through a lot, but in his rookie year, he held his own. I mean, you have to say he held his own in his rookie year. It's just the offensive line coach. I mean, he did an amazing job. His name escapes me right now, but the injuries that they had up front, and to do the shuffling all year, and to have almost like the 6th or the 9th best offensive line in the league. That says a lot. That says a tremendous lot. And to go back to Carson Wentz, when I was looking at the game against the Jacksonville Jaguars and why they lost, it wasn't because of him per se. The offensive line gave up 6 sacks. I mean, if you need to win, you gotta protect your quarterback.
See, and this is another reason why I don't like quarterbacks like him. His offensive lines get a bad rap. That's not the offensive line giving up 6 sacks. That's him holding on the ball too long into 6 sacks or running into 6 sacks. That's not on the offensive line. Indy's offensive line is excellent. They have a great offensive line. Give me their offensive line 10 times out of 10. That's him. If you watch his film, even in Philly, running into sacks, running into injuries, that's Carson Wentz. And Deshaun Watson does that same thing. So we'll see. The Browns' offensive line is excellent. Those are top 2 offensive lines in the league. So if they're giving up a bunch of sacks, that's on him. So we'll see how that plays out too.
Yeah, and I hope like he's learned from because in his press conference it was on me. I made the mistake, so that's good to hear from a quarterback to say, hey. And it's also fair to say if we were in his position, you don't expect to get traded, like after. I mean, yeah, everybody has a bad game, but
no. So if they win either one of their last 2 games, they get in the playoffs. With the last one losing to Jacksonville, I think the writing was on the wall for him at that point. He had to know he was out.
That's true.
You can't lose to Jacksonville and expect to keep your starting job, especially a team that's clearly they had given up on the season. And like I said before, when they were going into that game, they knew they were going to lose. Right. And then they got in the game and were like, Carson Wentz is giving us a chance to win. We can win and still keep the top pick. So let's go ahead and do it. So that's 100% on him, and I don't blame them for making the move, and I don't think he was surprised by it either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way: like, let's see how this season plays out, I think the Commanders will be a lot better than last year. But we have to see if his old demons spark up again when he plays quarterback. If
And
he's going to make those same mistakes, and how far Ron has that leash on him.
yeah, and I've already said that I expect that all this happening to him
Mhm.
is going to be the difference maker for him. Really, hopefully, wake him up and make him get it. I'm 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 predicting he'll play well. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt now. He doesn't
Mhm.
deserve it, but I'm giving it to him. I think he's going to put all that horrible play in the past behind him, and I think he'll have success there in Washington. I, if I had to bet, though, I'll bet he'll prove me wrong on that. But we'll see.
I mean,
We'll
being
see.
a homer, I just the thing is, it's like we as Washington fans are striving to have a winning system. Number one, because you have to identify what your team is. Number one, number two, have a quarterback solidified so no nonsensical quarterback competition goes into the offseason, or and then just win. We haven't had a winning season in 20 years. I mean, we're striving to have something, and I think we grasp at false hope so much that we don't even know what winning is anymore. We just say, okay, we got Carson Wentz, we're good, but is that going to take us over? So we always doubt, and I think we just want a winner. We just want to win so badly that we grab. Like RG3 could have been a great quarterback here. It's just unfortunate the situation he got ran into was a buzzsaw. I mean, it's just horrendously bad. I mean, it's just that he could have still been here if he didn't get hurt. I've always said that if he didn't get hurt, he would still be the Washington quarterback. But if Shannon was here, I think we would have won a Super Bowl by now. But but it's just
I love Shanahan, so I agree with that. But I'll give my okay.
so.
The last word on the Commanders. I see this Commandalorian thing is starting to catch some steam here. I'm seeing all over Twitter people are getting
Yeah.
Mandalorian helmets and painting them burgundy and gold. It looks pretty sweet. At first, I was like, but now it's starting to grow on me a little bit. So shout out to the Commandalorians. I was even like, we need to do a Commandalorian podcast and make it all about the Commanders, but I don't know how big the audience is for that. So we'll have to see in the future how that goes. But
Hey,
hey,
you'd be
Commandalorians,
surprised
shout
that
out.
guy. I
Um,
mean, I'll put it this way: what's the harm? We just have to try it, and if they say let's go for it, let's do it.
we'll see
I'm
how
all
this
for
all
it.
plays out with the Mandalorian thing, but it's starting to grow on me. I've got a helmet. I'm not going to paint my helmet, but I've got another Mandalorian face mask like shield thing that I could paint. So we'll see. Maybe even think about giving that away if we get a fan base here. Maybe give that away to a
Hmm.
Mandalorians fan. But that's pretty sweet nickname. Whoever came up with that. So props out, shout out for that. Another this is not Commanders related anymore because he signed with a new team. Matt Ioannidis ends up in Carolina, and that's an underrated move for them. That'll help them. They'll be a bad team, but he should play well down there. So we'll see how things go with there. If they bring Cam back, they could be all right because he didn't have an offseason last year. If they bring him back and go through a full offseason with him, getting the offense and all that, they might be decent. Might surprise some people. So I hope they do that since they don't have a quarterback yet.
See, I wanted him to go somewhere else. I was dreading because he plays his butt off, and I was like, maybe he at least land in a place where you can go to a playoffs. Like at least land on a team that can go to the
See,
playoffs.
at his best, he can take a team to the playoffs, but he wasn't at his best last season. He didn't play well, but it's because he didn't have an offseason in the scheme. And
Right.
this year he could if they bring him
Hmm.
back. So we'll see.
Yeah. I love Mike. I mean, so the hot take that what was it? The GM for the Buffalo Bills said about the Washington Commanders about why JD McKissick and all them. He was talking all this noise about, oh yeah, we did this, and I was like, bro, like if he hasn't signed with you, he's not part of your team yet. He can switch his mind whenever he wants to. You don't owe him a forsaken thing,
Yep.
So and he says he didn't and I told like what Mart and I was like, Martin Mayhew, you're the GM of the Washington Commanders. What is your rebuttal? What is your response? Because if someone was telling me, if I was a GM and someone was poo-pooing me, I would go right back and say, hey, you don't know what you're talking about. Even though you were in the organization, you have to go back and say, what is this? And yes, there has been talks about two-faced talk so that you'll say one thing and do something else. But at the end of the day, these agents need to know this is a business, and this business is very shrewd. One minute they can say yes to you, and the next minute they have something else. So you have to kind of like you have to be ahead of the GM. That's why even though I don't like Scott Boras in baseball, he is probably the best The best, because he's always ahead of the
Yeah.
game. He is always ahead of the game, and it's almost like who's that power agent in the NFL?
Drew Rosenhaus is one.
That's the one. Like he is always ahead of the GMs in every single contract negotiations and everything. He gets the players the best possible deal ever. And if you as an agent are saying, "Oh, they told us it," then bro, that means you're not working for the player. You're working for the team then. You can't tell if the team tells you something. You can't go back and say, "Oh, they really like you." You have to play devil's advocate and represent your player and say, "Hey, guy, you know what? They're saying this, but I think we need to start looking elsewhere so we can maximize our stuff. We know what your talent is, and that's what really infuriates me and frustrates me is you can't poo-poo a GM. Number one, because the GM is looking out for their own benefit, not your benefit. and
Yep.
and if you felt that you got hosed, whose fault is that? That's not on you. It's not on the Commanders. I'm sorry. It's not on Martin Mayhew. It's on you as an agent to be like, I think I'm getting played.
Yeah, I get that, and I wouldn't ever trust a team's word on anything from health to contracts to anything. The issue with it with Ioannidis is he didn't whether he trusted the team or not. At that point, he was still under contract, so it's not
Right.
like he could have gone on and shopped himself and tried to get another team, or his agent could go out and try to find a better deal. He was under contract, so he didn't have any options. With a team lying to him in that circumstance, if that's true, that's the agent's word. Who knows what's true? But if
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
true, that is a shrewd and dirty way to handle business. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't expect anything less from that organization.
Hmm.
With the players changing their minds, though, if you're not under contract, I don't. You can do whatever. You're a free agent. You might have a verbal agreement, but whatever. You're still free until the ink is wet. Until the ink is dry on the paper, you can do whatever you want. With the Deshaun
Yep.
Watson thing, that
Yeah.
surprised me because he eliminated Cleveland.
Mm.
He told them they were out. So for him to change his mind there, that was surprising, but not dirty.
So
Well, it was kind of dirty to the Falcons and Saints because they made him think they had a chance. But it's a huge decision for him, his life, his family, his money. That's a big decision. So to change your mind there, you have the right to do that. That's with it being such a big decision. But then don't eliminate a team if you're good. So
so
yeah,
going back to right, see that's what I want to know like ESPN if they can get back to their old reporting days. I want to know, and I think you can agree with me, is what made his decision. Like money, of course, played a
it was the
factor in
money.
it, right? I'm not
It was
saying
the
no to
money.
that.
Bottom line.
So
Bottom
bottom
line.
line. So then, did he know what Cleveland was offering before he said no?
Well, he met with each team he was talking to, so they
Mm-hmm.
probably had some sort of like ballpark figures out there. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
think if that ballpark figure is presented, he's not
Mm-hmm.
eliminating them. The numbers they were throwing out must not
Mm.
have been anywhere near there. And then they were like, "Look, this is our shot. We gotta throw a Hail Mary here. We gotta make it work." And when you throw that out there, I don't care who you're like. That money's getting anybody. Tom Brady's going to Cleveland for that money.
Yeah, I
So
mean, and the thing is, the crazy thing, and you tweeted this out. You have to get, and people have to give you credit for this. Is that getting guaranteed money in the NFL is very difficult to do. It's very difficult to do, and now we see more and more players getting guaranteed money, so that
and
they are
Kirk Cousins
set.
deserves credit for starting that trend. He started it all.
Yeah.
He had the string of franchise tags in Washington, and that led to his guaranteed deal in Minnesota. And he's been getting guaranteed deals in Minnesota
Hmm.
ever since. So Kirk started it,
Yeah.
and it's going to keep happening for especially quarterbacks, but it's going down the line. Devontae Adams, a big portion of his deal is guaranteed, so it's
Hmm.
starting to trickle down, and the teams are going to see that really that's better for both sides because for the players, I mean, of course it's better because it's guaranteed, but it also results in shorter contracts, which I think is better
Ah.
for both ends of it. So
Yeah, and I think they should write something into the CBA too, because if they're
that's
going to
that's going to
have
be
this,
if the players can somehow stay united, which
yeah.
I don't ever
See,
expect that either. But if they
yeah.
do, then that will be in the next deal. If they can't, then it won't be as usual.
Look at baseball, man. Like I forgot his name escapes me, but he signed like a almost close to $300 million deal guaranteed. And I think I just don't remember like because there was a huge signing. I mean, it was an astronomical amount of money, but it was like a guaranteed. And I think baseball is always guaranteed, right? They don't mess around with like these. They say you're here for like 10 years, but like the money is guaranteed in their contracts, right?
Yeah,
It's
and the
not like
NBA
it's not like.
and the NHL, they
Mhm.
all have guaranteed contracts, all of them.
Yeah, I mean the NHL is. I mean the NHL. Their players union is I mean, it's pretty bad.
And whether
The
it is or not, they have guaranteed contracts, and
Yeah, but I'm surprised why the NFL has not gone down that route because they
they were the argument is injuries. That's the owner's argument. But injuries are a part
mm,
of every sport. So
yeah. I mean, hockey. If you look at it, I mean, they're skating on ice with thin razor and a puck coming at you 100 miles, not 90 to 100 miles at you. I mean, you can die.
yeah,
And so, I mean, getting a guaranteed amount of cash is good. And also, you're saying, like, if they say we guarantee you 4 years and the last year is your option, you know, as a player, you have 4 years to perform and you're still getting paid. So you don't have to play for a contract. You just play who you are. And then if you look at it, it opens up trade possibilities if the player's not playing well. You could trade them or you can cut them, but they still get the money, and you write that off. I mean, I don't know how that works in the accounting world because then if you're guaranteed that, you still have to pay the player. So I don't know how that might kind of figure out if you have to cut the player. But I mean, if you say guaranteed in the dictionary, it means you are owed that money even if you're cut. So
yeah. So
so
yeah, we can
it's
we can go ahead and switch gears here. We're going to take a quick break and then switch gears into March Madness and get a little talk
oh
on that part going. And then we've got some NBA things to touch on, some MLB, quick NHL blurb, and then we can go ahead and wrap up the show for the week. We're the Talking Hats. We'll be right back. We are back from the break here, and like I said, we're going to go ahead and get into some March Madness talk here. Harish is he's chopping at the bit over there to go ahead and get us started. So I'll kick it over to you to lead off on the March Madness.
I mean, I'll put it this way: all the top seeds, they gave us a scare the first round. They gave us a scare, going from Gonzaga, who I have winning into my bracket, but the Zags pulled it off. But what really irritated me was the USC and Miami game. That game was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, that was a clean block. No body, no nothing, clean block, and the referee called body on that block. And he was right there underneath the basket looking at the hand. The hand didn't even touch, like the block, it wasn't even a body. And USC lost because of that. USC lost because of that. And if you don't call those, and you haven't even called a foul the entire game like that, and you're calling it at what, like 10 seconds left in the game? Like that ref should be fired. He should not, like, I'm not saying because I picked USC to advance and they shouldn't have played the way they played, but that ref made a huge decision for the outcome of that game. If you didn't call it, let's say USC probably would have had another shot of winning the game. Even though they were down, they had a shot of winning the game at least. And it happened again on what it was. I think it was. I forgot what game it was. I mean, it's like these refs. There has to be a way to mitigate these bad calls, some way, shape, or form. There has to be a mitigation to it because it ruins the entire flow and the thing. Because like if there's a challenge, there has to be like they should at least have two challenges. And I don't think in college basketball you can challenge it. I know the NBA you can, but I don't know in college basketball you can. But I'm not
Yeah,
sure if you can. I mean, if our viewers and our listeners,
see, so they have replay now. So I don't understand what's going on that you can't correct a call like that. Because they do have replay. They've been replaying out of bounds calls. So and I said I picked Miami to win, so I was happy about that. But I hate to, and I said I hate to see teams get screwed when you make it this far. There's no excuse for it with replay. And I hate refs making calls like that unless you clearly see something. Like I can understand a missed foul call, but unless you clearly see a
mhm,
foul, like why are you making it?
mhm,
That's a guess whistle. You're guessing that
yeah,
there might be a foul there. Unless you clearly see it, keep your whistle in your pocket. That screws up their entire season. They may have still lost in overtime, but give them a shot to get there. I mean, good grief.
yeah, exactly. It's like if it's like this, if you don't call it on the other end, you can't make up that call on that end with that kind of severity left. Like it was like 10 seconds left in the game, and everybody in the stadium, the fans, even for me when I was at Hooters or Chantilly, I was like, "What is this? Like, why did you do that?" And people are looking at me and saying like you're. I was like looking at me weird because I was just like, what's going on here? It just does not make any sense. But it's just frustrating. It's just one of those things that
Yeah.
it's just like the refs should not dictate a game. And I see that more and more now in college basketball than before. I can see bad calls like during the game, you can say okay, but when it comes to that, like if it's a very close game and within that 10 seconds, you just can't. You just can't. If it's not blatant, you can't call it. Oh, it was the oh, that 3-point shot. I think it was oh yeah, he hit his hand and people are like, "What is this?" And then that team lost too. Iowa. It was the Iowa game.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah. Another one that I
and
picked correctly.
yes, yes. First of all, Iowa should not have played the way they played. They were so bad. I don't know what the heck was going on with them, but he was fouled on the 3-point shot, and the referee was standing right there. And you're like, the guy's like looking
Yeah,
at him
I
like,
actually saw that one. That was a bad call.
yeah. But then, let's say if he made that shot, Iowa would be. I think Iowa would have cut the lead in like maybe down to 1 or 2 points, or even
That's
taken
another
the lead.
situation where it probably would have gone to overtime.
Yes.
And then in overtime, the Iowa, which is probably the better team on paper, the better team usually pulls out situations like that. But hey, the Spiders are going on against Providence today. We'll see how that one plays out. That should be a good game, by the way.
It should be a really good game. Not if Providence. See, I have Providence going at least to the Sweet 16, but the Spiders may put like I'm on their bandwagon as I said. I'm on the University of Richmond bandwagon.
Yeah, UConn, freaking UConn. I had a feeling they were going to lose, and I still picked them.
I did that too. I thought they would have go far.
So I'm that's right side of black, and I'm all screwed up. I picked Vermont. They lost.
No, but you still have your Final Four intact, right?
Gonzaga, Baylor, Auburn, Villanova. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as your Final Four and some of your Elite Eight. I mean, I had Iowa going pretty far, so I kind of like put a nail in my coffin.
I picked Notre Dame to win, and they were a playing team, so that's a good pick.
That was a great pick because I didn't think Notre Dame would beat Alabama like that. Was it Alabama? Yeah, Alabama.
Yeah.
I thought,
what else happened as far as like upsets and all that? Oh, freaking the Hokies let me down. A correction I wanted to put out there from kind of both of us from last show. You were talking about Texas last show. You were talking about Shaka Smart and losing.
I was about to. Yeah, Shaka Smart's not on there. Yeah,
I didn't correct you because I didn't know.
Yeah, Shaka Smart's with Marquette. I was about to say that today. Great minds think alike.
So I wanted to correct the record on that.
Yeah,
I should have known better than that.
Yeah, because it was in 2021. It was like last year where he went away, and I was like, oh no, Shaka Smart's not on Texas anymore. I was like, oh god.
Yeah, don't question our credibility. We don't follow college basketball like that. Well, we do, but we don't follow Texas like that.
Right.
Texas is not a basketball school traditionally, so why would anybody know who their coach is? So give us a break there.
Yeah, that was our bad. It's okay. We all make mistakes, okay?
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, I was like, okay. So but
now we're 99%. I mean, I'll take that.
We're pretty spot on. But the biggest upset of the entire tournament, in my opinion, was St. Thomas or St. I have no idea where this was. It St. Thomas? St. Peter's beating UK, University of Kentucky, in overtime. In overtime.
Let me confirm that so we're not putting misinformation out there again. Let's see. It is. Where is it? Where's Kentucky? Just a sec. Okay, yeah, it's St. Peter's.
St. Peter's
beat Kentucky.
Murray
State won, so I got that one right at least.
Yeah, Murray State. Well, yeah, Murray State was a good game too. But that school in Jersey, apparently it's in Jersey. That's what I mean. I heard on Danny Rue saying when he was doing his comedy circle, he went up there and he was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Dude, I've never heard of this team before."
Shout out to Danny Rue and Grant Paulson.
Yeah, come on the show if you guys want.
I'll tag y'all so y'all can hit us up. Thank you.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, right? If you got flat out beat, I wouldn't be this angry. Because you lost to a better team, 20 points. The 15th seed just had their day, right? But what this shows me is you lost in overtime to a team that you shouldn't have lost to. and I said this to one of my friends is like, and I think we were going back and forth with Calipari. Like Calipari's a coach, but he needs the creme de la creme for him because I think those players mask his coaching ability. He can't coach like mid-level talent. He needs like high-level talent to make himself look good, or else he doesn't perform. Like, I mean, he has starters for 4 years, and he couldn't get them past St. Thomas.
No, he's got one and done players. He doesn't ever have 4-year players, and whether or not he's an X's and O's coach or
Right.
not, you never really get to see that because he's such an excellent recruiter. He always gets the best talent. So people are calling for his job there in Kentucky. That's absurd. If he ever got fired, if I'm Maryland, I'm throwing a Cleveland Browns type offer at him to get him there. I want
Really?
him. I want because he's such a great recruiter. He's always got the elite talent, even though they're one and done players. You're in it for that
Hmm.
one season, and then you refresh
That's
next
true.
season. So,
But the only thing I have with him, I love Calipari, but it's like scandal kind of follows him everywhere he kind of goes.
but it doesn't really stick.
It doesn't, but with Maryland already having black guys from the past, you really don't want another black guy at Maryland. I mean, Maryland has
I
like
take my chances. They don't
you
have really
take your
have any other
chances.
chance in the Big Ten. They're on struggle street. So
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I'd rather have a banner that can't be taken down. like when he was with MIT,
I'll
when he
take a
was with the
dirty
Minutemen,
banner.
huh? You
I'll
had
take a dirty
banner?
banner.
Nah, man. Like they had like when after Lefty left, there was a lot of like educational scandals about like padding grades.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so bad, and I don't think Maryland wants to go down that route again. So I mean, yes,
They were
if
pursuing
Calipari can,
Patino. They were pursuing, so they didn't care about that stuff. Patino was Mr. Scandal, and they were all in,
mm,
and he said no. So they don't care about that stuff. They want to
yeah,
win because at the end of the day, and
but
here's
it's
why you don't.
crazy though
Here,
because
here's why you don't care about that stuff
mm, I,
because while
they're
it's
looking
going
at
on, you're getting the wins, you're getting the money. You might get the banner taken after the fact. You've already gotten paid at that point. So
That's true. I mean, they're looking at the Seton Hall coach now. Maryland is so. I mean, his name is. But if I were them, in all honesty, I'll go to like the mid majors, one of the mid major schools who has a really good program, to see if any one of those coaches would like to come to a powerhouse like Maryland. I mean, because I think, well, I'll even put this: if Juwan Howard gets fired from there, I would not mind taking Juwan Howard
he's
at
not going
Maryland.
to. He gets the results there. They're always in it. And last season they actually had a really good season, and they're still in it
They
this year. So
did
he's
actually.
not getting fired. No chance.
Yeah. I thought he would have because of the incident that he had with the coach from Iowa or
Nah,
from thing, but
believe me, the school doesn't care about that stuff. And
oh,
like I said at the time, that's publicity. Any publicity is good. Who nobody's talking about college basketball before that. Now everybody is. So, but
that's
it's March
true.
Madness now. But he put it back on the map in the doldrums of the regular season with that. So
Mhm. And I mean,
net
I
positive.
mean, if Michigan can get it going, they may even beat Texas or
It,
Tennessee.
let's see, Michigan. They've got
Oh God, what is my brain having
my
today?
brackets up here. Let me see. Bear with me, everybody. We're
Yeah.
going through the bracket here. There's a lot of teams on here. Let's see. Michigan. We've got. Sheesh, okay? Michigan. They'll be playing Ohio State. No, Tennessee. Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Michigan
Tennessee.
versus
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeah, yeah.
That'll be
At 5:50.
that'll be a good game. Like I said before, Tennessee is an excellent defensive team, and then they put up
Yep.
points on a bad Longwood team. That'll be a good one. That should be an
That'll be
entertaining game.
yeah.
Dang it, my bracket is so horrible because I picked Longwood over Tennessee, and then I picked Longwood over Michigan. So that's
Oh,
terrible.
that
But
was. It's okay though. I mean,
but today I'm picking Michigan over Tennessee. I'm on the record.
because so the thing is, like, I like so Providence has a really my scary feeling is Providence has a very solid team. Like they're really good,
So you're
so
picking
they
them over
can go.
Richmond. I did. I picked
I
Providence
mean,
over Richmond.
I think I have. Where do I have Providence going? I think I have Providence going pretty far, or
I have
having
them
them.
losing to Kansas in the next round.
I think I have the same. Because that's the only kind of I think I because I didn't have Richmond moving on. I had Iowa. I
So
had
see, yeah,
Iowa
we're
going
we're
to
busted all the way around.
yeah.
Gonzaga
I,
though, Gonzaga struggled in their game, but they pulled it out at the end. There, they kind of
hmm
ran away with it in late.
yeah.
And so that's a wake up call for them. That I
Yep.
think that was one of the more athletic teams that they've ran up against,
Yep.
and they've got another one coming up here. So we'll see how they fare. They've got a
Yeah.
lot of size, so that helps. But we'll see how that
Tim's
goes.
that guy Tim's with the weird mustache. I don't know why he has it
Big
on
dude,
him.
big dude.
Not even that. His footwork
Yeah,
is amazing. I mean, he wasn't going. He was going up against athletic guys bigger than him, and he was just using his
Timmy,
footwork. Say again.
Timmy.
Yeah, live and die. No, but I mean, dude, like we've all seen a lot of centers in our time, and especially in college basketball, you don't see a center like that. It's a once in a rare kind of breed that comes out and has that kind of footwork. Because most centers are like they'll just bull you, kind of take the shot or they try to do an out shot, but he can go inside and out. And they have a 7-footer who's not even a center. He's like the wing guy who takes the ball up and who can shoot.
Chet Holmgren, that's because he's like 7 foot 180,
Yeah,
stick figure, if
yeah.
even 180. But he's
But the
young.
knock
He'll grow
on,
into himself.
oh yeah, I mean he's a freshman, right? If I'm not looking, I mean the knock on Gonzaga is they don't have like those two guys don't have the size, but I mean if they can play finessely, I mean, and kind of play like I don't see why not they can't win against the size, because
Yep.
but we'll see. I mean, Memphis is a great. I mean, my gut told me to pick Memphis, but I just went with the analytics and I picked the other team by. I was like, all right, let's see. But Penny Hardaway will have those guys playing tonight. I no ands ifs or buts. Like Penny Hardaway will have them playing, and it's going to be. I think it's going to be a closer game than people think it's going to be. I think Gonzaga will put on the end just how they pulled out in the first round, maybe by 5 points, but they'll get to the free throw line more often now, and then push the lead to 10 in the last the final seconds of the game.
No, yeah, they definitely need to be on upset alert tonight because Memphis is extremely athletic, like I said,
Yep.
and that's going to pose some problems for them. But that's all I've got on college basketball. We can see how
Yeah.
these games play out today.
It's gonna be fun.
Hopefully, our brackets are still alive
Oh,
at some
yeah.
some perspective after today, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Switching gears, we can get into some NBA talk here. Not really much to go into on the Wizards. Like I said a couple of shows ago, they're in tank mode. They stink. We can start
Did
getting
they
into
win
what
against the Knicks?
heck no. We can start getting into what they're going to do as far as next season, maybe later down the line. But like I said, not really much to talk about here. You can get into them if you want to. I don't have anything to say about them. They suck.
I have a bone to pick with Stephen A. Smith.
Uh-huh.
He was saying that the Dallas Mavericks had won the trade between Porzingis and Dinwiddie. It looks like that now. Yes, because he's getting his glory, and he was saying that like the players didn't want him to shoot. Cut all that noise out. That's fine, but the Wizards don't have a full set of team yet to see because Porzingis only didn't even play in the first couple of games. Beal is out, so we don't know how that trade worked and how and the rotation's still getting rotated, so we don't know what the starting five is. At least the starting three, I would put it. You already know Kuzma and KCP are going to start, and not KCP. I'm sorry, Kuzma and Porzingis, but everybody else is just a question mark. I mean, if I was the Wizards, in all honesty, man, they need to trade KCP, get him out the door, because I don't think he understands that you have a 7'1" guy who can score a double every night. Just pass him the ball. He doesn't understand that. He wants to be the glory guy. Like he thinks he can do it. If Kuzma can swallow his pride and pass him the ball and still score 20 points a game, why can't you? I don't see that. And with Beal coming back next year, if he does, I mean, he got to be a fool if he does, if he's going to sign that tenure for 200. But then you can tell if this team won the trade or not. Short-term success doesn't bring long-term. So we have to see how Dinwiddie does in the playoffs because Dallas is going to go to the playoffs. But we'll see how that works out or how that pans. But Stephen A. can't just go off and say, "Oh, Dallas won the trade" just because he had two to three good games. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
He started off playing well here too, but like I said, I'm not going to go into the Wizards because not worth it.
Yeah, I'm done. I just had a bone to pick with Stephen A. because he was spewing off some noise, and I'm like, come on now. I mean, just because you hit 2 game winners, you can't tell a team that automatically won a championship. Like let him prove himself in the playoffs. When they go to the playoffs, if he can do that same stuff in the playoffs, let's see if that happens.
So
sorry, and I'm done.
No, the Wizards' last win was over the Pacers on March 6th. Since then, they've lost to the Clippers, they've lost to the Lakers, they've lost to the Blazers. Suck. They've lost to the Warriors. That makes sense. They've lost to the Nuggets, and they lost to the Knicks last night. So, like I said at the time, they've embraced the tank. So I give them props for that. They at some point you have to do that. You got to start the process like the Sixers did. And they're full on into it. I applaud that. I'm not going to hate on Tommy Shepard or anybody for that. It's time to do it. Maybe you can look into a good pick here and get a decent player and turn this whole thing around and then keep building the process. And then they'll be a completely different team next season. So we'll see how that plays out. The next game is tonight, tonight against the Lakers, and that game is really the Lakers. This is for their playoff lives. They're playing. This is everything to them. So I expect LeBron, who went out there and went nuclear on them in their last game, to go out there and do the same thing tonight. And they really just have to hang around until Anthony Davis can come back, and they'll be set. As far as the playoff goes, they're going to be in the play-in game, and if he's healthy for that, then of course they'll win that, and then we'll see how they play in the first round. But
what happens if the Wizards beat them? Are they out?
They're not officially eliminated yet, but it'll like they last night beating Toronto. These are games they have to win. They're 30-40 right now. Let me see where they are in the West. I've got that up here. They're in the ninth spot, so they're hanging on for dear life, and the Pelicans are right behind them. And the Spurs they're not really sniffing it. But if they have any slip ups here, they can get caught by the Spurs. So they've got to win these games. And like I said, if you're a betting person, put everything you got on the Lakers tonight. Put everything you got on LeBron's over as far as player points. This is gonna be one of the games they really take seriously here tonight.
But you know what the funny thing is? This is probably the game that the Wizards will actually win.
I wouldn't bet on it.
I wouldn't bet on it either. I'm not. But it's just one of those things like they lose. Oh, they're going to lose this game, but this is the one they're going to win because, like, as I've always stated, start your young talent. Don't be stupid. Just start them. Just start them and just go forth with it. Denny, Kisberg, Rui, Porzingis, and Kuzma.
Since they're tanking anyway, it doesn't start whoever. But right. In their remaining schedule, I see 2 more wins. They can beat the Pistons. They should beat the Rockets, but they're not gonna. They can beat the Pistons and they can beat the Magic. That's it in their remaining games. So
I mean, I don't even know what they're. I mean, you know what? Let's stop talking about them. They don't, as you said, they don't deserve our time. But what I really want to talk about is the Nuggets. Because good news. I think I should pass it over to you that Jamal Murray has been assigned to the G League now to get some games underneath his belt.
Yeah, I retweeted their Nuggets post about that he's now on assignment, and that means he's all all gears, full steam ahead. I got it out. Full steam ahead. That he's returning to the court here and going to be back in action soon, hopefully within the next week or so.
But in my opinion, who had the best signing is the Denver Nuggets. You know why?
Boogie.
Exactly. Boogie is boogieing down the lane to help the Joker out. And I see them actually, I actually can see them beating the Warriors. They might struggle with the Suns, but the Warriors, with Steph getting hurt that game, which was a dirty play by Marcus Smart. I do not like Marcus Smart. He's not a good player. He's a very dirty guy. He did that on purpose. And he says no. And I agree, even though I'm not a big fan I like Steve Kerr, but I'm not a big fan of him. What he said was right. That was an intentional thing. He didn't have to go he didn't have to twist it. He was diving for the ball. If you dove for the ball, okay, but the way he dove, as a player, how to dive for a ball. And he did that stuff on purpose. And
but then the very next play, he tried to kick play. So
yeah.
I don't really care for him as a player, but whatever.
I want in all honesty, I want Boogie just to beat the living dust out of him if they play each other any time before the. I don't think Boston plays Denver anytime soon, do they?
Not sure. Doubt it.
Doubt it, yeah. But with Boogie signing, man, I think that was an underrated signing, and no one's really like.
Oddly enough, they play them tomorrow night.
Ooh, what time? I'll see that game. Is it at 1 o'clock? 8. But I'll say this: that's an underrated signing that no one's really kind of giving credit for. Like you hit it on the nail with him getting signed. It takes his team to another level, and now with Jamal Murray going to the G League to get his legs back underneath him, this is going to be a very scary team. And I think is it Porter Jr.? Is he coming back too, or is he already?
He'll be back at some point here.
Okay,
completely healthy, they can beat anybody. So
yes. And Jokic should win the MVP outright. Like, there's nothing, that says he can't. I mean, him and Embiid battled 1-on-1 and he beat Embiid. So if Embiid wins the MVP, I think he got robbed. I think Joker got robbed. So we'll see. Any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, Embiid played fairly well defensively against Jokic in that game, but the Nuggets won the game. So that's really what matters at the end of the day. And I think the Joker has done more with less than Embiid, and he's been there all season. He's played, I think, in his career, he's played something like 95% of the games. So he's always there. It might be higher than that. So he's always there for them when they need him. Embiid has had injuries even this season. So for me, I'm taking the guy who's always there and who's putting up the numbers and getting the results. I'm taking, you know what surprised me though, where I'll give Embiid credit, but they were winning without, even when he was hurt. I'll give him credit though that they're the third seed, right there with the Bucks, almost second seed in the East, and the Nuggets are the sixth seed in the West. So I'll give Embiid credit for that. But like I said, Jokic is always there, so he's my MVP.
So I'll say this though, to wrap it up. I mean, to go back to the Wizards real quick. If Tim's from what is that called? From Gonzaga, depending on what his draft status is and what the Wizards get, they should draft him and then trade off.
The Wizards need a point guard.
You think so?
Yeah. They have to get a point guard.
Like a true point guard, not like this, almost like a John Morant kind of type.
You can't draft a Chris Paul. You need a quarterback type of point guard, a distributor, somebody who can really come in and find those plays like Chris Paul does, like LaMelo Ball, like those kind of passers. You need that at the point guard position. So that's to me is their biggest need.
Yeah, I can say that. I thought Danny would have taken that role a little bit because that's what he played back in Israel. He was like a point guard kind of type player, being 6'6", 6'7". But that's not his role with the Wizards. I think they may have to reevaluate a lot of things in the offseason because I think the coaching needs to change a little bit. I think they need to have a different mindset. But enough about them. I'm done. Sorry, I'm getting. No,
it's cool. Let's wrap up the show here. We can touch on some baseball and hockey real quick. MLB, the Rockies signed Chris Bryant. They actually opened up the pocketbooks there and gave him a pretty good contract. Outside of him, their roster is pretty. Their pitchers aren't great. The rest of the lineup is not that great. So I don't really know what they're going to do this year. They might be one of those teams, as a sleeper and comes out of nowhere. But they're on paper, they don't look like they're really going to do anything. I just wanted to mention that signing. The Nats, spring training has started up here. And I think they've gotten off to a good start in spring training. Hopefully they can surprise us here and have a good year. Yeah, that's all I've got for MLB. I don't know if you've got anything on that.
I mean, the Orioles lost to the Toronto Blue Jays in the preseason game, 8-something. So I don't know how.
Orioles will be doing a lot of losing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really kept up with the Orioles after I think the 2018 season because it just. All the players that I liked are no longer here. Manny Machado's not here. There's a lot of players on that team I can't remember right now because I haven't been keeping track with them. I'm going to be really honest with you. And then no one really talks about it here because the Nats are dominant, which is good. They should be a dominant area for the Nationals. But I would say this. The pocketbooks are opening up for a lot of players and they're getting paid. Corey Seager got paid. He got close to $200 million. So
yeah, he got paid, and then Carlos Correa got a big deal from the Twins too. So
yeah,
for them and for him.
Yeah, and the thing is, apparently baseball is going to do doubleheaders now until the end of the season because a lot of the games got canceled. So that's something good to see.
They've got a lot of makeup games to do.
Yeah. So on that note, I'll put it this way: I really don't know too much about the Orioles. I'll read up on them in the next couple of days to kind of see what they're doing in the preseason and off season and see where they're at. They're not.
They haven't made any moves.
Their farm system is whack. I mean, they used to have one of the best farm systems in the majors. Now they're just gosh knows what. The Angelos have run that team to the ground. And they say the Suns are better. I don't see it. I mean, at the end of the day, they say they're the owners. We'll see. It's preseason. Anything can happen in the regular season. So you have 100 and some games to go. So
yeah, and then switching gears to the NHL, the Avalanche are in the mix here for Claude Giroux, who's a good player out there in Philly. They're in the mix to get him. Hopefully that happens. He's deciding between the Panthers and the Avs, who happen to be the two best teams in hockey. So either situation he ends up in, it'll be good for him. And I'm hoping he ends up here the Avalanche, they're set. It's just when you can get a player like that, you want to go ahead and do it. So, but they're set though. they're the best team in hockey from a points perspective. They got 93 points and the Panthers have 90. And then the Caps here, they're on a tear lately. Mantha, and I said when he came back, he was going to make a big difference, and he is. He's playing very well. Obi's on a tear. Their last few games here, they've beaten Calgary. They lost to Edmonton. They beat the Canucks. They beat the Islanders. They beat the Blue Jackets, crushed them. And then they beat the Hurricanes last night. They've got the Stars tomorrow. They should win that over Holtby and those guys. So. But they're on a tear here, and they're making some noise towards the end here. So.
Congratulations to Ovi on 767 getting third in all time. So
yes,
he is playing at an elite level. And we've always said this, once the Caps are fully healthy, they're going to be a very dangerous team. And it's proven. And it's getting proved right now.
Yep.
I've always loved Vitek Vanecek. I said he should have started over Samsonov from the beginning. And now you can see the fruits of the labor that he's just put in. You can tell that he's playing the goalie that we needed. We need to fix up a little bit of the defensive kind of the communication thing.
But it's coming together, though. That part's coming together with everybody healthy now. They're playing a lot better on that end.
100% guaranteed. But winning 7-4 is big, but they shouldn't have given up 3 goals in the last couple of things. So, outright there are things, but they beat Columbus, which is huge. And at the end of it, and when they go into the playoffs, no team, I don't think any team wants to face them. I honestly think that. They're going in hot as they did in 2018. So let's see what happened. They got hot at the right time.
Nobody wants to see them with the way they're playing right now. They're scorching. So.
Yeah. And they finally got a new They finally got like a new power play system going in. They finally got like a little bit. And it's been a long time since I saw Ovi score off a faceoff. So that's a plus in my book.
Yeah, they're hot. And the Avs are hot too. So we at least we've got those 2 teams for and I've got the Nuggets too, but the Wizards freaking suck. But yeah. So that's last words.
Nothing much, man. Thanks for everybody for joining. Peace and love. Please subscribe. Hit us up whenever you can. And we always love to hear our comments and feedbacks. We're slowly growing, and if you guys can come onto our YouTube channel and help us grow on that, and maybe one of these days we can do a live show, and maybe people can come on that, and we can try to do something kind of cool.
Yeah, but I know we ran long today. There's a lot to talk about though, so bear with us on that. It was highly entertaining, so you can stay throughout the whole show. Like, subscribe, hit us up, support. Like I keep tweeting that out. If you want to jump in with us, we welcome all. Get into the debate with us. I know we have a lot of opinions some people don't agree with, so let's hash it out. But yeah, that's all we've got for this week. We'll see how things play out throughout the week, and if we want to jump in and do a show, we'll see how that all plays out. We did it last week, and I think the week before maybe. So we'll see how everything plays out. Thanks for joining us, and happy Saturday, everybody. Talking Hats, we are out.
Peace.